Okay. Um, Welcome to illustration block. CG Spectrum. I'm having a little technical glitches with my camera setup, so you won't be able to see my freshly shaven bald head today. Which is, I know, it's a disappointment for everyone. But I gotta do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue working on this head character. I started blocking in part of the body. I'm gonna just spend this time, this next 2 hour block, just finish painting this thing, or as much as I can uh, today, and then I'm gonna start something new next week. But had some fun just to sit here and paint a face and play with some costuming elements. But if anybody has any questions, just shout it out. Otherwise, I'm just gonna dive into finishing this painting, or as much as I. It's 2 hours. So one thing I'm gonna do is just try to finish up some of the drawing that I was working on before class started. I kept thinking about what kind of costume to put her in, what kind of uniform or something that she might have. And stuff like that kind of weighs on me because I try not to do a spandex, tight leather, biker outfit, Marvel style thing. Um, but try to make her feel like she's wearing actual clothing. But then I also don't have time to sit here and render folds in a shirt and all the wrinkles and stuff like that. So I guess it's just faster to go with the bodysuit approach to this. Drawn Skull is asking, what books would you recommend on concept art? Oh man. Um, as far as to learn concept art, let me see. I'm looking at my bookshelf now. Um, I think any of the Scott Robertson books are good. Um, the company, uh, Design Studio Press. I think if you go to that website, Design Studio Press, they've got a number of uh, really informative books to choose from, to look at. And I think that would really inform a lot of great information that helps answer the question. Right now, I'm just trying to get my layers right. My file is a jumbled mess because I was kind of frantically trying to scramble something together for this stream a couple weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Never really organized the thing properly, so Rolo Ben, right on. Hi. You got any questions or recipes or anything like that you want to share? Please do. Right now, I'm just trying to organize my layers. Uh, okay, got it. Yeah, that was a pain. Right, good. Drawn Skull. Also, a lot of the concept art books, like art of books that are out there in stores, are a mixed bag of concept art and illustration. And I don't know if I've talked about this in this stream or not, but it's kind of like when you look at what people think is concept art, like the like let's take the art of Star Wars, any of the art of Star Wars books. A lot of those big splash paintings with Millennium Falcon flying through stuff, or big throne room scenes with soldiers everywhere and sword fights and pod race scenes with explosions in the background as Anakin's pod racer flies through the wreckage. Those are all illustrations. Those are all paintings. Those are all narrative keyframe illustrations from the movie. A lot of the concept art, the actual concept art portion of these art books, I don't know if they actually teach you anything as much as they just show you the work that went into the production. And you can see the level of finish, the level of work that goes into character designs, creature designs, stuff like that. But the images that they use to get people hyped up and to sell the movie, those are all keyframe illustrations. So a lot of the stuff that you see from Marvel Studios, showing Captain America fighting Winter Soldier, or Black Panther doing whatever, a lot of that stuff is all, again, illustration. So I think that Scott Robertson's books are good. There's a couple of instructional books from Steambot Studios. I'm just looking at my shelf right now. Oh, Doug Chang's got Doug Chang's book might be a little now. His process is probably a little different, but no, Doug Chang has a good book called Mechanica. Yeah, I would just look up Doug Chang. He's the design directors for Star Wars Episode 1. I think that was probably a good place to start. I'm just exploring right now, just trying to think of the costume accents on the costume that I want to lay in here. Whatever kind of trim I want to put in here. Because I want her costume. I want the warms in her skin. I want the reds on the reflected red light on her face, and the warmer tones on her costume to pop from the cools of the background, but not be overly chromatic. I don't want her costuming or any part of this to feel blown out. The most chromatic thing in the entire piece should be that red light on her face. Hey, thanks, Brandon. Thanks. Have a good trip. So I am going to. I could spend the next hour just rendering an eye, and I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you guys can handle that again. There was like a lot of cheering and roars and applause after I finished the first eye, but I think I don't know if your hearts can take it So I'm just gonna try to block in the rest of this face. I mean the rest of the body here, and try to get a. I don't want to go for that superhero vibe, so I'm trying to think what can I add for a costume. I don't want to rip it. I don't want it to feel tattered, but I also don't want her to feel like she's a superhero in some kind of spandex suit. So I might add a zipper. I put a name badge or something like that on her. Logos work. I mean, when in doubt, put a Pepsi logo on something. Grounds it. I feel like it grounds it in like a sense of realism. I want the same light that is raking across her face in that general direction to be illuminating her torso, her upper torso, her shoulders, this area. So, uh, like her skin is gonna. I want her skin to transition. Um, I actually use the. Brandon's asking, do you use the smudge or the mixer for blending? And I actually use the smudge tool. I actually don't know how to use the mixer brush. I know, that's terrible, terrible. But like I would come in here to her neck, and where that is. Okay, so I have these values of browns, right? So I want to do a smooth transition or a smooth gradient in here uh, to just knock that out. But I also don't want it to feel. I want it to feel painterly. I don't want it to feel like a Photoshop gradient has been applied or some kind of blur tool. So I'm just gonna. I have the smudge tool set, and oh my god, settings are off. Who touched my Photoshop? Oh no. Thankfully, know what I'm. So 1 second. Gotta switch brushes. That's what happened. I was in the middle of showing this to students. This is my blending technique to students, and threw off my whole. There you go. Okay. So I have my chalk brush, and I'm just kind of just smudging, just pushing those pixels around. And I try to paint as much as possible, all in the same layer. I know that's kind of a destructive way of doing it, but it allows me to push all of the pixels and blend everything as if I was traditionally painting it, and that's kind of the vibe that I like. for this stuff. Yeah, it's really fun for that nice painterly look. And then over top of this, like I have my line work, I have my drawing in, but sometimes instead of painting over the line work, I'll just erase it out because I'll like what I have in there and say, you know what, I'm just gonna come in, I'm just gonna rake across that lip. Save myself a lot of time, smudge it out. And whatever other paint work I have to do in there can come later on, but you know, and then I have a layer mask over my line work. So I can just come in here, erase it out if I want. There's something I messed up on or something I want to do, I can always just bring it back. And that's the glorious thing about Photoshop as opposed to painting this thing for real. Once that line work is painted over and that paint dries and you go to bed, you know, oh my god, I painted over something important. Now I got to go back and figure it out. But here and finish locking in this arm on with this. Saying you also prefer the smudge over the mixer just out of habit. Yeah, I tell students all the time there's like 1,000 ways to do everything in Photoshop. So when I watch tutorials on YouTube, somebody is doing something fancy with the lasso tool or brush or something. My God, why is he doing it like that? But that's that's like tip or version or way 117 out of 1,000 ways to do it, and that's what works for that particular person, and you get really great results with it. So whatever makes you the most efficient, you to get the look you want. I like it when people ask me, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I like it when people ask me, oh wow, that looks really cool, how large is the original painting? And then I say, oh, there's no original. Or they'll ask me, how much do I want for the original? No original. I mimicked my traditional work, Photoshop, to such a degree that people can't tell the difference. And they'll go, okay, well, I'll just keep my thousands of dollars then. Breaks my heart. But anyway. So I usually don't paint anything at 100% opacity. I mean, I'll block in stuff, but I'm usually just treating this whole process like watercolor. Just building it up in glazes so that I can see underneath what I've done, or that the different translucent layers can shine through. Um, kind of want her arm to have this nice warm tint to it. Kind of matches up with the light on her face. Say it's in the same area. Now without the line work, I know it kind of looks kind of blobby, but that's, yeah, it's all intentional because right now I'm not really interested in blending out anything, smoothing anything. It's just about laying in all of that color, laying in all that paint, get into smoothing things out, all that on. But right now I'm just trying to get that color transition, that cool to warm transition in her shoulder to read right properly. Let me see. I need to explore some stuff is with this costuming for a zip. It has more of a jumpsuit kind of vibe to it. And then what could I put in here? There's a lot of open area in her chest. I could have stitched lines and stuff like that going on and follow the flow of her breast. Isn't a bad idea. But I also don't want, I don't know, I'm probably overthinking it. Probably I didn't want to uh put a lot of detail or accentuate her chest area. I mean, she's not exposing herself, right? It's just about how much work or line work do I want to suggest that. Probably easy to just see it. And I know some people like to just direct paint, figure it out as they go, just smudging stuff around. But I'm not that guy. I need to see a line work roadmap. for everything. If it means I allocate a whole day or two just to getting the drawing right, that's I budget that into my time, factor that in. So, and the actual painting process actually goes much faster if you know where you're going with it. And since this is more of a demo than an actual commission piece where somebody gave me a brief that said it's a woman with a mohawk and she's got a jumpsuit on and she's got some kind of sci-fi background. She's on a battleship. Nothing that clear was given to me. But in this case, I'm kind of just opposite of what I said. I like figuring it out as I go along, but this is the thought process that goes. I will toggle things off and on, back and forth, making sure that it works, making sure that I like it. If I don't, I might spend some time warping things a bit. Like this zipper feels like it would just be right in between her cleavage, and I don't want that. I want it to feel like it's a slide or like overlaps without actually. God bless whatever amazing technician came up with the warp tool, Photoshop, because it made my life so much easier having to erase and redraw, erase and redraw. Just warp it. That doesn't too, and that this shape gives me is a way to break up the color, the pattern in the costume. Sean. Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Where are you in the world right now? Where are you watching from? Malaysia. It's 4 in the morning. Wow. Holy smokes. Well, yeah, I hope you don't have insomnia or something. You woke up just to watch little old me paint? Good grief, I'm honored. I'll believe that. Maybe it's insomnia. Maybe you're about to go to work. No. I also noticed that there's a little bit of lag between Twitch and the chat. So I feel like there's maybe a minute or so delay or something. Just trying to lay in the shadow her head um, over this. That's what I figured. Severe insomnia. Well, I'm happy that you were able to join us today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask away. Yeah, I just cleaned my studio last night thinking I was gonna be turning on a fancy camera, fancy $1,200 camera that doesn't seem to want to communicate with OBS. Thought, well, let me get fancy with it and get all that depth of field coolness in there. Nope, didn't work. Get a cheap $200 webcam or something. Maybe like $100. That'll work. I bet it'll work. Yep. And anybody that has kind of seen my work website, and that I like playing with reflected lights. I like playing with color, um, different glowing effects and things like that. Um, but I really love spending the time designing characters' costume or something for like a sci-fi novel or something. Every once in a while, I just finished a job earlier this year for Marvel, and they let me redesign the costume for characters for the cover of the book, and I couldn't have been happier because the publisher, it was a partnership between Marvel and Scholastic Books. And, the publisher was kind of like, well, we don't know what she should wear. Maybe you should just put her in blue jeans and a t-shirt. Oh, that's boring. Let me see what I could do with it. Have some fun with it. Um, yeah, it's the second book in the Shuri series, the uh, Black Panther. Like, there's a part in the book. Well, not really giving anything away. There's a she's like going on her first adventure outside of Wakanda, and uh, she's going to be wearing this stealth suit, which pretty much renders her invisible. Like, it's all like Wakandan, like stealth technology, like all that stuff that would be built into Black Panther's costume. Well, like, she leaves Wakanda wearing it, or like puts it on, and I thought, well, that's just the coolest thing. I've got to design what that stealth suit, because the book actually doesn't specify what that suit looks like. And when I asked the publisher, do you mind if she's wearing the stealth suit, and they said go for it. So I had to come up with a costume design. Like, before even submitting sketches, I had to come up with a costume design, and then that had to be approved by two committees of people, um, to approve it. And then once that was approved, I went ahead and did my sketches for the cover. Then I painted it, and so that'll be out in stores, I guess, worldwide next February, coming February. So it's always fun to do stuff like that, especially when the art directors or the companies just they trust you to just do your job. Nobody was nobody said, no, let's have a professional design the costume and we'll send you what they come up with. They just said, you know what you're doing, go for it. Here's the due date. Yeah, man, thanks. Here's the question. I go full white all the way down her body, or do I mix it up, spice it up? I'll do that line either. Nope, that line either. Hmm. So even after this stream, I don't think I'm definitely not gonna finish this. I mean, this was probably a little too ambitious to think I was gonna blaze through it in 6 hours. But I mean, this is uh, uh 5 hours of work so far. I mean, to be fair, it probably works a little slower trying to talk while I'm talking to myself or to random people from all over the world. Come and watch me paint at 4 in the morning. Holy smokes. So, but but I also do this a lot. So somebody's watching this. Or you did that in 5 hours? Probably might be somebody else going. It took you 5 hours to do that. I could have done it in 3. Congratulations. Thank you, man. Thank you, Sean. I'm just mixing it up here. Might put a little might put a little, you know what? Let's go Star Trek with it. Why not, right? Um I'm just gonna put this in here for later. Put some little triangular pips on her shoulder to show rank. I don't know. Here you go. Because it's my painting, that's why. Yeah, hell yeah. I was also thinking about her face. I was thinking about her face and actually scuffing her up a little bit. And actually, there's some stuff I still need to finish in her face. But I think I want to finish working out. I want to finish working out where the costume is going first, and then I'll come back. Oh yeah, let me finish up this costuming, and I'll come back to the head. Uh, Handle that. I don't know if I'm gonna use triangles because I kind of feel like it would distract. Not in a compositional way, but somebody going, "Oh, it's Star Trek." Oh, I'm probably overthinking it. Overthink a lot. All these shapes. So there's some things I got to do to this as far as the environment. Got to finish up the background, uh, floating earrings, blazer real quick. It's really nice. So at this point, I think I'm just going to be bouncing around. Like when I paint digitally or when I paint traditionally, it doesn't really matter. I kind of bounce around the piece, um, working the whole instead of piecemeal, like rendering the eyes and then moving to the next eye and then to the nose and the lips and then resolving. I kind of just move around it, and that's both good and bad. I mean, working around the whole thing, blocking it all in, you start to get a feel for the overall package, right? But then you also want to refine as you go and not just throw down blobs of color like this. You want to refine stuff and move on, because you find that if you don't do that, especially if you're on a deadline, you might find yourself panicking at, God, there's everything just looks half finished. I gotta render so much more. But her hair is soft, so I want to get that softness. Soften the edges of. Yeah, exactly, Sean. Exactly. So our my next stream, I'm actually gonna do uh, the alien, basically the alien equivalent of this. It's gonna be an alien portrait. I don't know if it'll be like, I don't know if it'll be in the same environment or if it'll be something a little bit more organic looking in the background, maybe swamp or something. I don't want to go Dagobah with it, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. But we'll work on it. Usually, when I'm doing alien designs, I end up sculpting something, but I don't have time to sit and sculpt something in clay before the next stream as reference for alien portrait. Hair, nice kid. So, thinking about, I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about doing this thing where I see in concept art all the time where there's like a piece of somebody's eyebrow missing. I don't know why people do that, but it looks cool. It adds a little story to the character. You know? She got slashed across her face. Who knows? Um, Makes her feel a little bit more organic. I resisted the urge to, and I said this in previous stream, that I resisted the urge to put panel lines and robotic gears and stuff like that all over her. I wanted this to feel wanted this to be a real person. So. Might not. Like her shoulders, like her, like she feels strong. There's a confidence to her expression, to her pose. Her hairstyle, all of it, I feel. So so what I'm doing, if you see the screen, like if you see me going back and forth, zooming in and out, that's just me squinting, looking for checking the values, stuff like that. I want to make sure that all feels right. Drawn Skull, you're asking, is the iPad good for character design, comic book creation, illustration, and concept art? Yeah. I mean, look, there is an illustrator. I can't remember his name. Terrible. Hold on a second. There's an illustrator that has done the poster design for the promotional poster illustrations for Stranger Things, for the TV show Stranger Things on Netflix. Um, and he does all of his illustrations in um, on the iPad. So let me see. I'm trying to find the example of dude's work. I can't remember. And I'll call it up. I'll just bring it into Photoshop so you can see it. Here we go. So this entire piece was done on the iPad uh, in Procreate, I believe. So this guy, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but um, he does everything on his iPad. Has a very Drew Struzan-esque feel to it. you don't know who Drew Struzan is, uh, correct that immediately. Uh, movie poster artists, been doing stuff. He did he did the Star Wars special edition movie posters, all the Star Wars movie posters, the prequel series movie posters after that, all the Indiana Jones movie posters, stuff like that. So there's a lot of people that have been inspired by that look, um, by that type of handling, that brushwork. Um, like this has a very color pencil, acrylic painting kind of feel to it, but it's all done digitally. So yeah, there's nothing that you're only held back by your own technical capabilities. All right, the tool is just a tool. If you don't know how to use the tool, that's one thing. If your technical ability isn't up to the task of uh, of using that tool properly to create great results, then that's something you need to work on. But you know, I just wanted to show you that uh, so you can see. But anyway, you're saying you saw you remember a manga artist that drew on his art on his Samsung Note and won a manga competition. It's all about whether you can get used to the tools at the end of the day. Absolutely, you know. Um, a good friend of mine did an entire series of illustrations just using a mouse. Just you know, this is all before he could afford or either didn't have a Wacom tablet, and there was no X Pen or anything like that. There was no alternative. If you couldn't get or afford a Wacom tablet, you had to do your digital art with a mouse, and that's what he did, and his stuff looked incredible. But can you imagine how many late nights? Click, 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 click. That's all you heard probably from his studio for hours and hours. You probably only got maybe something he could get done on a with a Wacom tablet. Probably got done, you know, maybe an hour's worth of work that you would do on with a Wacom tablet. Probably took him all night just using his mouse. But my goodness, where there's a will, there's a way, right? I want a subtle kind of folds, drapery kind of not just a folds in the costume, but really soft. I don't want it to be too much, but I'm also not getting precious with how I handle this. This is meant to be loose. Yeah, I bought a Cintiq as soon as I could afford one. I used to work this one studio doing concept art for a few years, and I was like, it was my first major concept art job where they allowed me to do I was doing character designs for almost 4 years straight, and uh, I was doing a majority of the work I was doing on a my laptop, because my laptop had a pressure sensitive screen, and I also didn't have the physical space. Well, at the time I was living with my mom, and it was like the corner of the living room was my studio space. And as soon as I moved out, as soon as had enough money to move out and get my own spot, I also dropped. Man, how much was that thing? Something like 20, 24, 20, 20. I don't know, 20. Oh, it was, I know it was over $2,000 I spent on the Cintiq that I have now, that I'm working on right now. Like, I got a bonus check from the company and just blew it immediately. So I was tired of hunching over a desk on my laptop when I could just get some smooth state of the art device. I just remember how intimidating it felt to sit in front of this large screen, and I almost felt like have that imposter syndrome kicks in, and you go, "Do I deserve this? I spent a lot of money on something I'm never going to use." But it's probably the best investment I've ever made. I've made that money, that cost of this thing, back so many times over. There you go. So we get out of that. This kind of starts to take us out of that. Um, Starts to take us out of that. What should I call it? What am I trying to say? Avengers superhero kind of costume and more into a uniform. And I like putting these little trims, color accent. I like the better gold. Did like it. Hooray for undo. Ah, that's why. Drawing. Nitpicky stuff, but I like I need to make sure that lines that are guideline approximate as I can make them before I start rendering stuff. Nothing worse than rendering over something that's not, especially if you don't catch it until you've already done this really thing, and then you realize you needed to shift the whole thing 2 inches to something. So I want these little stripes to go across, but it's got to run, got to be even. That's something I'll come back to later. Like, I don't know what these are, but I just want to kind of little accents. The last thing I'm going to work on before I put this one to bed is just finish up this arm. Let's make this arm real quick. So it says we have a few people in the stream today. You've got questions or want to say hi or anything? Just tell me. Let me know where you're from and what time it is. I'm always fascinated by that. Don't be shy. No, I don't bite much. But if you're content to lurk in the shadows and watch me breathe into the microphone, that's cool too. Try not to breathe too heavy. So my camera's not functioning. Proceeds to lurk. That's cool, man. It's 10:40 at night. Germany, yikes. Okay. So are the people watching this, are you all artists? Are you students? Or how many of you are actually enrolled in CG Spectrum? And if you are, who who are you studying with? Who's your mentor? Just curious to know. Saying that you had the course. Ah, okay. Okay. He does some wonderful stuff with is Moto? Is he using Moto? I can't remember what program teaching ZBrush or something like that. Finished the animation course. Sean saying finished the animation diploma course, I think around a week ago. Oh, congratulations. Mentors Mark and I just finished our sad but gotta push onwards. Yeah, yeah. It's I mean after 36 weeks uh speaking to somebody every week and learning from them, it's hard. It's hard to say goodbye, but you know that you have to cut the cord and go out there and now try to apply what you learned to finding work, doing what you love to do. And I mean, the school is really more about setting you on the right path than anything. So, salute. Good for you, man. Congratulations. So what I'm doing here is I took the base block in of color that I was scribbling on at the beginning of this video, or just blocking out everything. It's different brush to smooth everything out. Our arm has a less of that chunky blobbiness and is refined. That's a good place. Same thing with her other arm. Yeah, you're saying, yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, you're in a habit of meeting your mentor every week, but suddenly being suddenly gone. Yep. Yeah, it's an adjustment to, for sure, to be in contact with somebody that is just so helpful and dropping information on you, and then it's gotta end. But as long as you go out there and apply what you've learned and make Mark proud, make the school proud, and come back and be like, hey, I'm working with Michael Bay, animating robots for Transformers 16. That'd be awesome. I don't know what kind of animator you are, but doing, if you want to go into live action or 2D, 3D, or cartoons or something. Yeah, you didn't like the Transformers movies, huh? That's okay. I'll forgive you. Those movies are amazing. That's a um yeah, no, I had to bail out after part 3. Um I couldn't handle it anymore. So uh but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this at this point. I mean, there's definitely more I could do with this. Um, I mean, I like the strength of her arms. I might put like a barcode or something like that on her arm. Um, could put a tattoo, a number. I don't know. There's a number of different avenues to explore with the costume design part of it. Um, Finishing up the face and the earrings, and definitely got to knock out the background. So, but I mean, this is just a taste of my typical workflow uh, for an illustration. Like, I would block in stuff and then render it and smooth things out and lay in all my colors, all my values. But I'm always thinking about the story that I'm trying to tell, the what with lighting in the scene, the dramatic lighting effects, um, background details or lack thereof, expressions, body language, all that stuff. It's all helpful to tell that story. And I putting in narrative details into her costume helps to answer questions about who this character is. Like if I put a number 5 or some kind of number on her costume, then it makes it feel like she's a racer or something, or she's an athlete or something like that. And I don't know if I want to do that. If I put a barcode on her, then it's, oh, she's one of many. But there's a number of different ways I can approach this. I mean, I could put a sword behind her back, or kind of weapon strapped over her. I mean, this could be this whole piece. Let's see. This whole piece here would be straps for a large gun here. But I don't want to go that route. I don't want it to be violent. I don't want her to portray that. So I mean, it's a thinking process. I have to develop it further. And like, I like the light source, and I like her looking toward that light source because it adds a little narrative, a little story to the piece. And because otherwise it's just a portrait, right? So you want to try to tell a little bit of a story with all of the details, as many details as you possibly can, without overloading it. Junk stuff. I even thought about putting a little alien resting on her shoulder, right? But then that just that's kind of anyway. So I thought about putting an alien on her shoulder, but then I wonder about that distracting from the overall thing. So anyway, so that's what I got for you guys today. So this is my sci-fi character portrait. How about a drone companion, you're saying? How about a drone companion? Yeah, that's an option. But see, here's the thing with that, is that if this is a cropped in, like, medium close-up shot of this character. And if I start throwing in things that are going to be floating in the background, then it doesn't really matter what I do on her costume. Our eye is going to go straight there. So, and it doesn't matter if it's on her left side or her right side. It becomes a little bullseye. So, I mean, I could have a little alien claw, little alien baby hand reaching out, but I don't want to do Baby Yoda. So just gonna keep it simple, nondescript sci-fi costume, no numbers, barcodes, or anything like that. I think I'll keep the triangle pips. But I've done this a lot, so I kind of sit there and brainstorm and think all this stuff out. But this is the first time I think I've actually done that thought process live for human beings. Well, outside of my class, my classes that I teach. So I'm still new to Twitch, and it took me, gosh, how many weeks to figure out that I could play Spotify at the same time. So yeah, like, bear with me. I'll figure this out. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. So next week I'm probably gonna do another portrait, but it'll be an alien portrait. So I want to have some fun with that one. And to save time, I might actually just shoot photo reference of an alien sculpture I've already done and then play with it. So if you didn't completely fall asleep on this one, this one held your interest, or if you had any questions and did not ask me, well, you have your chance to ask me again next week, because it's going to be like Slimy Alien Central. Yay. So anyway, take care, guys, and hope to see you back next week.